one deal, 444 units, probably our third deal. It is our third deal. If you play the game, you can get lucky or unlucky. And I've gotten unlucky, but I tell you what, that was a deal where we got lucky. As we were seasoning the financials, getting prepared, ready to sell it, the city of Arlington started bombarding everyone with the good news of what's going on. This was right across from the GM plant where they build the SUVs. And they're like, oh, guess what? We're going to completely retool, revamp this plant. We're going to dump, $1.5 billion on it. We're going to do that in the next couple of years. And we're going to rework the highway system all around this on ramps and off ramps and, the entertainment district and the stadiums and all that. Like it all hit right before we're going to market this thing to sell it. It was like just money, suitcases of money dropping from the sky, and we didn't do anything. It was just sheer dumb luck that we got into that situation. And so, when the paychecks came on that one, it was more money than I had ever anticipated I was going to make at all in my entire career. And it all came in just one deal. And, when we targeted, we build our models on what we're trying to make our investors. And we tell our investors, hey, we can't guarantee this is going to happen, but this is what we're projecting. This is what we'd like to do. And then when it comes back, triple that or quadruple those funds, everyone's just happy. It's just a dream. And and you sequence a few of those back to back to back, and you're like, okay, now I'm in a position to do something a little bit different in my life.
Invest in and follow principles. That has proved to be pretty successful.
This landlord's gonna make almost $2 million over the next 12 years for doing something one time. And that's like residual. This guy's got another 7 retail spaces and he's got 10 stories of apartments above it. And I'm like, man, I'm on the wrong side of the coin, right? I need to own real estate, not broker it.
You start doing deals that are absolutely life-changing, like that put you on the path for intergenerational wealth.
Welcome to the Real Estate Home Runs podcast. I am your host, Luis Vanderhorst. This is a podcast for busy professionals who want to learn about passive income producing strategies that have helped others crush it in the real estate world. Whether you are a new or seasoned real estate investor, this is the podcast for you. Does selling your house, your business, and starting from scratch in another country sound absolutely crazy to you, or does it intrigue you? That is what our guest from today, Will Crozier, did. Will is a real estate investor who is passionate about lifestyle design. He's done over $300 million worth of real estate transactions and now lives semi-retired in the Philippines. In this episode, we talk about angel investing, the act of investing in new or small business ventures, and what it means to live by design. Will, thank you for joining us.
Luis, it's awesome. Thanks for inviting me. Excited to do this.
It's a pleasure. So Will, tell us a little bit more about yourself, about your background, and what got you interested in real estate.
Yeah, money got me interested in real estate. I was broke and I wanted some money. So, everyone knows that real estate's where you go for easy money. So that's what drew me in, honestly.
Okay. Yeah.
Didn't quite work out that way, but that was the thought.
Did it take you a while to get to start having some income streams in real estate, or you just jumped right in and?
It took a long time, actually, and I started with single family flips in Southern California, in one of the hottest real estate markets that location had ever seen.
Okay.
And I made some good money flipping houses down there, a lot. But that only took me so far before I had to move on and do something else. And I moved into multifamily in Texas. And what was weird is when I moved from single family flips into multifamily, I thought that's when the real money was going to come. But that's when the real money stopped. Like suddenly I didn't make any money the moment I jumped into multifamily because just the nature of those deals, they took a really long time to turn around, to go full cycle on. And then I would do 1031 exchanges. And so I felt big money when I was in single family, moved to multifamily, and suddenly I was broke for a really long time, maybe even 4 years, something to that tune, before I finally started realizing that the much larger gains of multifamily.
Okay. Then when you said you moved into multifamily, did you do like a house hack, or you join in a syndication deal, or what a value add?
I was doing single family flips in Southern California, where a piece of junk old house at the time would cost $600,000. And when that market was crashing, I looked around the country about where my next place would be, because I knew SoCal was done for a while. So I packed up all my stuff in my car and I moved to DFW, Texas. I'd looked at pretty much every metro area, and that seemed like the place to go. So I just moved there. I didn't know anybody, didn't have a job or anything. Just moved into a Motel 6 and just kind of like look around and said, what's next? And I tried to flip houses in DFW, but the same houses cost $60,000 instead of $600,000. I'm like, I'm really going the wrong way here. This isn't working. So I met a couple of people who were trying to do multifamily in 2011 when there was no lending on value add multifamily deals. It was cash only if they were that distressed. So I partnered up with one person and we put together a first small time syndication deal. I think we had seven minor partners and me and my own partner. We did a 77 unit heavy value add. It was 70% occupied, 1970s built. We dropped it down to probably 50% occupied in the first couple of months and just did a full on renovation of every unit in there and the entire exterior and re-tenanted. And that was the first multifamily deal that I had done. And from there, did many years of that, just growing and growing on each iteration.
It seems like that's a unique approach for going from single family to then multifamily, as opposed to going straight to a multifamily.
Well, I'd done a lot of volume at higher price tags in single family. So, you do 10 flips at 700 a piece, and you're at 7 million really. And so I had no choice but to add a zero to what I was doing if I wanted to keep growing. So I didn't even know about apartment investing really. My partner said, hey, you can flip these and make a lot of money. And we didn't even know what that meant. We didn't know how to value a multifamily deal. We didn't know, about cap rates and NOI and all that stuff. And we're just like, seems like if you buy this and you make it nicer, maybe someone will buy it for more. So we were just mentally treating it like it was single family, which is ridiculous to think back about. But someone eventually was like, no, you evaluate these on a cap rate and, you look at the NOI. So all you do is improve the NOI. And then if you have a 10 cap, you add 100,000 and you add $1 million in value. We're like, that sounds cool. Totally no idea what we were doing really. But once we got that figured out, we're like, wow, it's like if you save $15 per unit on the water bill, like that's huge money, that's huge value add. So kind of just led into there. And after the 77 unit, we 1031 that into 244 unit. And after that one, we 1031 that into 440 units, and we bought a bunch of portfolios and just grow really rapidly and very organically in a massive up market. And if around 2010 and through about 2018, it was just on fire, pretty much the whole country, especially DFW.
Yeah. Are there any other tangible actions or strategies that helped you increase the value? You mentioned the reducing the water bill. Would you have any other examples or any hacks that you have implemented?
Sure. We loved interior renovations because, someone who's going to pay $600 a month for a piece of junk interior, if you add everything brand new in it, they're going to pay another 100 or 2 a month for that same apartment. So we got really good at interior renovations. I started an import company out of China that was importing all of our flooring and fans and knobs and faucets and everything, the entire interior renovation. And that became a life of its own. I sold that company like 2 years ago and made a good payday there. But just really got good at interior renovations, got good at energy conservation, got good at water conservation, replaced every valve, every toilet, every shower, just replaced it all. I mean, you got to remember, this is a time where you're buying hard down properties. They were extremely distressed. California owners or even international owners would buy these and just treat them like ATM machines, don't reinvest anything. There were no repair and reserves escrow accounts that the lender made you do. So they were banged up, beat up old properties. Yeah. Perfect for us.
Did you and your investor look to cash out within 3 years or 5 and keep ownership or sell the the asset during that time?
So for the first ones, we were very much fix and flip just because we didn't have a lot of cash on our side. So even if you refied it, you're really limiting that leverage. You know, you would get like a 70% LTV on the refi or whatever, but when you fully cash out, you're getting the whole 100% out of it. So the first several deals, we went full cycle on 13 months, I think 25 months, I think like 18 months. Like we're really just getting in there and going crazy with them. After 2016 or so, started looking a little bit longer hold, and they weren't as distressed anymore. We'd buy properties that were 90% occupied, and we'd get agency debt on them, but still had a lot of value add on them. So they'd be cash flowing from day one, but we're still adding value and get the huge returns when we would go and sell later. But they started turning into 3-year deals or 4-year deals. Recently, we're refining most everything because there's not easy, great deals to be had everywhere anymore. So better to hang on to a property where we know all the demons and skeletons in the closet and just manage those better than trying to go in and find something new. You know, we still find new stuff, but it's just a lot more challenging, of course.
Yeah, and there are times where the grass is not always greener. and
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of investors, many markets are very competitive. Yeah. Okay. So when we're talking about your transition, because now you're living in the Philippines, I'm assuming you have been there for several years. What was that transition like? When did you get to the point that you know what, this is my goal, this is what I want to accomplish, sell my businesses and go and live in the Philippines, a whole new world. I don't know if you speak the native language there, and adapt to the tradition and everything down there.
Yeah, I can talk about that a bit. Actually, I discovered the Philippines when I was in China, doing my import business over there, and Chinese people typically aren't really great with English, and I would hang out in bars or whatever, and I would find some Chinese people. I thought they were Chinese that were really friendly and really good at English, but it turned out they're all just Filipinos over there working. So I was like, hey, come over, check it out, you'll love it. So eventually I just grabbed the flight and went over, and I really fell in love with the country. But what I also fell in love with was how it's sort of the Wild West here in a way. I mean, there's just a lot of opportunity and a lot of need. There's a lot of opportunity in the US, and it's easier to make money in the US, but I saw the need here and I kind of fell in love with that in a way. And I guess to back up a bit, eventually I found myself in one of those gigantic homes in DFW, these castle looking things, and I had my Bentleys and Ferraris and all that junk, and I would be out jogging every morning listening to my podcasts or audio books, and it had just felt like I had really achieved everything I'd set out to achieve from a financial standpoint. I was raised super poor in Kansas and rural, and suddenly I saw my life and I was like, okay, really scratch that itch. I was like, what's next? I'm like, is buying one more supercar going to be the thing that makes me feel great about myself? And I was just like, this is really ridiculous. Like, will I just buy another couple thousand square feet? Am I chasing a ranch? Like, am I chasing more supercars? Is it about traveling only? And I kind of got dissatisfied with life, where I just wake up and make more money and buy cooler toys and have more extravagant bottles of wine or whiskey or whatever. And it's just like, what is the point of this?
Yeah.
On one of the travels to the Philippines, I got involved accidentally in a child surgery here, where basically the girl couldn't see properly due to cataracts, and for a couple $100, we accidentally sort of like just got her eyes fixed and she could see clearly. And I was like, well, that's what we would spend on a dinner back in Texas. Like, what am I doing? So I took most of the skills that I'd learned doing scaling up of real estate and multifamily and big, large projects, and I've implemented that here, doing children's surgeries. I have several I own an orphanage here, and we're building more buildings on that compound. And then we've got several other orphanages throughout the islands. And just that's really my focus now, honestly. Working on these projects, angel investing in small entrepreneurs, their dreams. They need to hire more people. They need payroll loans. They need inventory loans. And there's no credit markets here. You can't really borrow money except for from family. So I'm trying to address that. But how to get here, that was a bit of a trick, like how to just sort of walk away from, you have this whole engine economic empire running. And a lot of that is fantastic partners who perhaps are a bit more grounded, is that the right word? I don't know, who didn't have the desire to be like all over the world, who didn't have the need, or had the kids that wouldn't really allow for that lifestyle at that point in their life or whatever. So I've partnered well with great people who work their butts off and allow me a lot more freedom than they themselves have. And careful decisions about what you'll take on and what you won't take on, and which aspects and which roles of the business that I'll take on that still allow me to maintain that sort of location independence.
Mm-hmm. That's good. Yeah. So is that where the angel capitalist company stems from, the orphanage and the surgeries that take place, those sort of philanthropic initiatives?
Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
It stemmed, angel capital stemmed from wanting to invest in small businesses, even in the US, but more and more it became both a humanitarian and an investment arm here in the Philippines. And that's my primary. I don't ever like to be like Will Crozier Inc. or Will Crozier LLC or whatever, so I just grabbed the name. It sounded cool, and it's just I like it. I like angel investing and I like venture capital. I was like, let's throw those together and do something with it. Yeah.
Yeah. And what does it look like to partner in something like that, or to come alongside in some of those projects that you're already doing down there?
Yeah, so we have brought on a few different partners, mostly for the humanitarian side. Like I actually have an orphanage in Sorsogon, Philippines, and we called it the Heart of Texas because all of the sponsors that I worked along with to keep the ongoing expenses, they're all investors that I have and have friends in Texas, and that I've helped make a lot of money for them, and then they watch my back and show me investment opportunities there. So we called it the Heart of Texas, and a typhoon just blew through there yesterday and threw off a couple of roofs, so it's more fun in the Philippines. But anyway, we're building more housing there, and schools and a new kitchen there, and they're involved more on that. And we also do literally hundreds of cleft lip and cleft palate surgeries over the past maybe 3 years. I think we're at 600 surgeries that we've done. So we've really scaled up with our partnership with Ruel Foundation. And so usually it's a financial contribution. That's what, makes the world go around, especially in these things where they're not income producing assets. They're spend as much money as quickly as you can and effectively as you can. So they help out with that a lot. And I'm about to do some kind of a small fund where we team together and find entrepreneurs that are in need, and we invest those funds intelligently, strategically, to maximize their growth curve of these small businesses that I'm investing in over here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. As far as you have accomplished a lot throughout your lifetime, and have experienced many things. Have there been any times in your life when you feel like you hit a roadblock or a setback, or anything that caused you to stumble? And what was that experience like, and how did you come out of that? Either with a better appreciation about life, or a new awareness about a particular area?
Sure. Well, I don't have to point too far. Like, honestly, 2020 is just a beat down for everyone. And we're all trying our best just to keep smiling, but it's just been a horrible, horrible year, personally, professionally, financially, like across the board. It's just shellacking day after day. And I think all of us are learning a hell of a lot about ourselves and what we're made of and where our priorities are. I mean, I think you and I could go into this for probably hours, and anyone we talk to on the street, we're all experiencing it in a different way. And some of us just crack, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's understandable. I felt extremely humbled during this year. Personal relationships suffering, family members passing, like you know, your whole vision, your whole plan, like you try to keep your goals and you have those outlined and you know how your life is going, and suddenly it's all taken away from you. You all control, your decisions are gone. The Philippines is still under like a military style lockdown. Like there's almost no freedom here.
Wow.
Limits of movement and travel around the world, where you can go, how you go there. And even the way you talk about things, you're tiptoeing constantly because everyone's experiencing it differently. And just because me personally, I feel like a lot of it's been overhyped and there's a lot of fear due to politics and control. That doesn't mean I can just run my mouth and offend someone who's experienced the whole thing very, very differently than I have. Their own health, their family's health, their own
That's good.
fear. So you're asking these roadblocks, man. 2020's been horrible, and we're able to talk about it out loud. But you know, I might close my laptop later and just go and stare at the wall for a while because just everything has been horribly disrupted. Just working through it, and it's not going to turn out well. I think we're going to feel the effects of this thing for decades, likely. People's futures melted down, all savings for college, or you're having a child yourself, and what that means for them, and what does it mean for raising a family. So I'm going on and on about this, but it's the biggest black swan, turn the world upside down event that I think the world's seen since probably World War II. I mean, you're talking 80 years. And we're living right in the middle of it in our earning years. So I guess I'll stop. But man, has that been an experience?
And something that has like pretty much stopped the whole world and impacted every corner of the world. It's certainly something that I think we'll always remember, and hopefully we're able to walk away from this once we get over that, with a new appreciation for life and people that are alive now, and also to be able to unite as humanity. That's why I appreciate and like what you're doing there in the Philippines. And just following some of the things you post. That's quite a leap of faith.
It is. I was ready for the change though, and I've never been too afraid of things. So, and who knows what I'll be doing years from now? No idea. I like that though. I really do enjoy that, and that's something you and I've chatted a little bit about, is kind of lifestyle design, and that's something I purposefully added to my life, is not to know what's going on 5 years from now. That keeps life fresh. I'll tell you what.
Since the podcast is real estate home runs, it's only appropriate that I ask if you have had any home runs that you have been able to hit.
Sure. Well, early on, I enjoyed all the deals. Lately, I don't enjoy them as much anymore. I've just kind of been there, done that, and it's just iterative at this point and not that exciting. But early on, I loved all of them. It was cool to transform an entire community and take it from a place that I was physically nervous to be, and then later to see kids out playing on the playground that we installed, or running around without a care in the world, and parents that felt comfortable and happy. So that was always rewarding. Financially, grand slam, we've had a couple of those. It's weird. I'll just tell about one. It's weird. You play in this game, you get into the 20, 30, 40, $50 million range on a single transaction, and you start doing deals that are absolutely life-changing, like that put you on the path for intergenerational wealth, money that you don't need to spend in your own lifetime. So you're thinking very, very long-term with it. So one deal, 444 units, probably our third deal. It is our third deal. If you play the game, you can get lucky or unlucky. and I've gotten unlucky. But I tell you what, that was a deal where we got lucky. As we were seasoning the financials, getting prepared, ready to sell it, the city of Arlington started bombarding everyone with the good news of what's going on. This was right across from the GM plant where they build the SUVs. And they're like, oh, guess what? We're going to completely retool, revamp this plant. We're going to dump, $1.5 billion on it. We're going to do that in the next couple of years. And we're going to rework the highway system all around this on ramps and off ramps and, the entertainment district and the stadiums and all that. Like, it all hit right before we're going to market this thing to sell it. It was like just money, suitcases of money dropping from the sky, and we didn't do anything. It was just sheer dumb luck that we got into that situation. And so, when the paychecks came on that one, it was more money than I had ever anticipated I was going to make at all in my entire career. And it all came in just one deal. And, when we targeted, we build our models on what we're trying to make our investors. And we tell our investors, hey, we can't guarantee this is going to happen, but this is what we're projecting. This is what we'd like to do. And then when it comes back, triple that or quadruple those funds, everyone's just happy. It's just a dream. And you sequence a few of those back to back to back, and you're like, okay, now I'm in a position to do something a little bit different in my life that I thought how this was going to go, and really, pack up your bags and go to the other side of the country, or jump more into humanitarian works, or just have a brand and a reputation and trust with people that allow you to function almost with blank check mentality. Like, my investors will just be like, do what you want to do it on the investment front, do it on the real estate front, do it on the small business front, do it on the humanitarian front. We'll just give you money. We trust you. You've done really well by us. And it's a fantastic synergy. So yeah, those were some grand slam deals that changed everything for me.
Awesome. And then you become that bridge for even the those that need that help and that assistance, and also help the investors that want to make a change. Yeah. Awesome.
That's something that I can point out. There's sort of the investor food chain, and I keep trying to just advance up that. So rather than syndicating now, a lot of what I will do is work with other kind of newer syndicators or apartment multifamily investors, and I will work in an advisory role with them, help kind of underwrite deals, use my balance sheet as a guarantor on the projects for agency debt, Fannie or Freddie, put my own capital in. If there's shortfalls, I can sometimes bridge that gap with some equity raise, on a case-by-case basis. So that allows me to not be day-to-day grinding through it, but still serve sort of in an asset management capacity, keep my eyes on it, use sort of my experience and sort of my network, leveraging all of those to really help a newbie come along, but yet it keeps me in a better position, just a general partner, a limited partner. It serves everyone's world very, very well. So there's synergies to be found there in that capacity, and moving into that role has kept me very active in multifamily, but also sort of that freedom that I've wanted for my own lifestyle design.
Do you look at a minimal door per project, or is mainly more on the cap rate and the returns on something like that? Does that make sense? Like, would you?
Yeah, I think so. For me, I'm typically holding out for deals that are value add in one capacity or another. Doing a ground up construction right now in Dallas on one of the projects, and then also just that sponsor himself. Like, do I trust him? Do I have an ongoing relationship with him or her? Do I like their resume? So to me, it's the project itself. Can we really add value or push the value of the property forward, and my relationship and trust and comfort level with the sponsor themselves. That's really how I size deals.
Good. All right. So to wrap it up, what are 3 tips that you will give to investors that have helped you hit home runs?
Okay. to just the previous question was the value add thing. And I think that that's huge. I mean, for some reason, people view sort of multifamily as this one big family. That's one investment class, but I've never touched something. Never in my life have I touched something where I thought I was going to make 6% or 8% on it. Like, no way. Like, unless I realistically had a shot of doubling my money in like the next 3 years, I was just simply not interested. And that's forced me to be dynamic and shift my investment style and criteria. Like I said, we're doing some ground up construction now because I feel like that's one of the most direct paths of doing that. So you're not going to really move the needle or change your life much if you're, buying 8 cap deals and there's not much you can do to increase the value. So really watch that, and don't delude yourself thinking that 20% is great either. Do 10% and 20% deals if you've already got millions and millions and you just need to put a tax shelter, hedge against inflation, park it somewhere safe. But if you're, trying to come out of a job and start a career as a multifamily investor, get a bit creative, work harder, find ways to really push value hard and make a lot of money for yourself and others. I would say another one is don't be afraid of syndicating and going bigger. That's one of the best things that I did for my career. Was some of our deals, we had 90 investors, so you're really watching that. Ooh. But if you got to put together 12 million and you've just invested your own money in the previous deal, and so you're not very cash rich, and you got to come and put together 12 million bucks at 100,000 a pop, you're looking at 120 investors. So don't be afraid to stack them up and go and make a lot of money for a lot of different people. And if you've got 12 million in equity and you're, going 20% down, you're doing some much, much larger deals. And that's where you can really move the needle and make a lot more money. I think finally, if I was going to give some strong advice, it would be, don't think in terms, you'll hear me, if you've read any of the junk that I push out mindlessly on Facebook sometimes, it's don't chase millions and millions of dollars. That's pointless. Your freedom is what most people are after. Once they have some nice things, they get bored of them quickly, just like I did. What you're really chasing is your freedom of who you're associating with. Do you have to go to work each day, put up with an annoying boss? Like, can you choose your partners? Is your time on your side? Are you free geographically, location-wise? Are you independent? Is your time free? So for that, cash flow is king, and you don't need much of it. Like, I hang out with people all the time who are the digital nomad class, who are over here in Southeast Asia, and they are worth almost nothing, but they have a gig that they can do from their computer and cell phone and make, $5K a month. And we live almost the same lifestyle. It's bizarre because my net worth is giant compared to theirs, but we're still eating at the same place and grabbing a drink at the same place and hanging out at the same beach or in the same social circles. It's like they did the massive shortcut to where my end goal was. And yet they've still got good networks and contact with good people. So for me, that's a big shortcut, a giant life hack that I'm literally considering doing my own podcast entirely devoted to that topic of don't chase millions, instead chase a quality source of 5K a month, and then be smart in the background with how you're investing and building a much, much larger business. But diverting focus to freeing yourself with cash flow and location and time independence.
That's huge. Yeah, that's powerful there, especially with all the colors and rainbows that we see out there and the glamour and the fancy things, and we're yet being enslaved to our jobs or the routine and the hustle, and instead of working towards that freedom. And like, life is too short to be working with people that are not like-minded and don't want to take the best of life and have a positive and appreciation for life. And a grateful spirit. Yeah. So, yeah, Otto, I don't know if you would like to share it. How can people stay in contact with you if they have any questions or want to connect with you?
I'm on Facebook. I'm the Will Crozier there. Angel Capitalist is my main arm. I'm also CapEx Ventures for multifamily in Texas. But if you reach me at the Will Crozier at Facebook or Angel Capitalist, that's where all my stuff's going on. Easy to reach out to me. Also have like kind of my mini blog that I do at angelcapitalist.com, sort of our stats and what we're up to for our humanitarian efforts. I'm going to really try to blow that out. It was supposed to be 2020. 2020 was the year for blowing that out, but now we'll back it up a year and do over 2021. But that's how to reach me. And I love talking this stuff: lifestyle design, money, real estate, small business, philosophy stuff. I'm a wannabe there, but just I love life, and I love connecting with, like you said, like-minded people. So please do reach out if you want to chat.
Awesome. Hey, it was awesome. It was a pleasure to host you, get to know you more, and I appreciate you being a guest here. We'll definitely stay in touch.
Awesome. Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
We hope you enjoyed this interview and got some value out of it to help you in your real estate investing journey. If you can take just a minute, please do us a favor and leave a review. Hit the like button on iTunes or whatever platform you listen to our podcast on, and subscribe so you can hear future episodes. Also, don't forget to check out our Real Estate Home Runs Podcast Community Facebook group, where you are able to connect with some great listeners. If you're an investor who is crushing it and want to share some information centered around passive income in real estate, please contact us. Hit those home runs, and we will see you next time.